So, next on our agenda is our Speaker Spark. And our Speaker Spark's topic for today is You are your greatest healer. Our speaker says that the emphasis on the U.S. medical system and our culture is on the doctors and other healthcare workers to provide the lion's share of responsibility for the patient's healing. But after a 40-year experience for healing, after a 40-year experience with chronic pain, our speaker switches the direction of that model and points the responsibility in the direction of the patient. Her thesis, born out of her extensive experience, is that 20% of the responsibility for healing the patient is on the entire healthcare community, and the other 80% is up to the patient and the patient's higher power. This morning, our speaker will be sharing her story of healing from chronic pain and then explain her view on healing. She will be explaining her view of healing and the importance of self-love and how ancestral clearing can support our healing journey, along with why the greatest healer of all lives within each of us. Our speaker is a health facilitator who specializes in stress chronic pain management, addiction recovery, meditation, and is a Kundalini yoga teacher. She is also an international best-selling author. Her book is titled The Way Through Chronic Pain, Tools to Reclaim Your Healing Power. So our speaker, being an ancestral clearing practitioner, today we'll be offering a group ancestral clearing and self-love meditation for us. So let's open our hearts and give a warm circle welcome to our speaker, Elizabeth Kipp.
Thank you so much, Susan. Thank you, Glenda. And thank you, Judy, for inviting me. I originally grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, so I feel like I'm coming home by being here with all you today. I'm going to start right where we are in this moment in time with a little piece called Breathing in the Coronaverse. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. The air is the guru, teacher that takes us from darkness to light. These are teachings from ancient sacred texts. And where does the Word live? The Word lives on the breath, in the air, and on our exhale. The significance of this coronavirus arising at this time on the planet is so profound to me. Mind, body, and spirit are all one in this human body. This is an ancient understanding. Even Western medicine is beginning to realize how integral these three elements are to the human experience. What do we do when what we do to one of these elements, we do to all. And all three, mind, body, and spirit, live in the power of the breath. This virus arising at this time when we as humans are living in a place of extreme polarity and fear. And when we live in fear, we shorten the breath. We gasp for air. We breathe shallow, and we pant with panic. We have forgotten the power of the conscious breath. Yet over 50% of the alveoli, the tiny air sacs of the lung, which allow for oxygen intake and releasing toxins in the body, live at the base of our lungs. When we breathe shallowly, We reduce our ability to bring life-nourishing air in and release out toxins held in the body. When we live in fear, the breath is shortened, and we lose access to basic nourishment and cleansing. We feel like we have brain fog. We get tired, we feel grumpy, we get depressed, we get passive, we get a headache, and we wonder what happened. We're conditioned to blame our circumstances or others, or worse, ourselves. We want to soothe and comfort ourselves. We're frightened. So we reach for our addiction or poison of choice. We disconnect from our uncomfortable feelings, but we also disconnect from the infinite and from what is around, from what is within and around us, from all that can heal us from our physical and mental pain. The breath, aspiration, is the key to life itself. The breath is the engine of life on earth. It is also the bridge to our connection to each other through our words. Conscious breathing, conscious living, consciousness, these are all connected to one another. It takes work to live consciously, especially when there is so much fear on the planet right now. Today, I'm excited to share with you healing tools that will help you increase inner peace in mind, body, and spirit, decrease stressful thoughts, and deepen your connection to intuition and yourself. What self-healing is not, it is not blame, not guilt, and not shame. Self-healing is within and all around you. Where does healing happen? The healing field. The healing field lives in the present moment. We cannot heal in the past or the future. We can only heal in the here and now. However, when we're in chronic pain or illness, we tend to link our pain to our past experience and project our fears about our pain into the future. We miss the present moment altogether, and so bypass the only healing space available to us. And how do we get to the present moment? Through breathing. Breathing consciously brings us squarely into the present moment where we'll heal. We live in the all that is, and so does healing. Healing happens both within the framework of science and beyond it. Where there are forces science is not able to address because they cannot be observed, described, or quantified. Our source of healing. We are trying to solve an integration problem when we're trying to heal from pain. When we're in physical or emotional suffering, we've temporarily lost our way to the healing field. We've forgotten or disconnected from our awareness of the merger between mind, body, and spirit. Perhaps this all seems like a riddle. We may have thought we had a health problem that was rooted in a physical ailment. But if it were that simple, we would have healed long ago. Time heals all wounds, we are told. Then why do some people heal and some people don't? The pain we feel from the illness itself, whether physical, emotional, or psychological, boils down to rejecting our present moment experience. We do not accept what we're experiencing in the present moment. We long for something else. We long for release from our experience, from our suffering. We long for freedom. In all this longing, we never find relief. We long for something that we perceive as in the future, so we have not yet accepted our present moment experience. The need to fill this longing inside us is at the root of pain and suffering. The longing itself presents a void with a bottomless, with an endless bottom. No matter what we turn to, food, electronics, people, relationships, money, shopping, no matter how we try, the longing remains. Our search reaps nothing but more seeking, more pain, and more suffering. We hear in spiritual circles that we need to look within. What does that mean, and how do we do it in practice? First, recognize that what we've been doing so far hasn't been working. Instead of looking out there to fill the longing, the great void you feel inside, look within yourself. Now, how do you do that? Step one to self-healing and freedom from chronic pain is learn to live in the present moment. Learn to accept your feelings, all of them. For instance, when you next feel the longing, take a conscious breath and simply sit with what you're feeling instead of trying to fill it with something. Here in the present moment, we enter the healing field. We can release our judgment about our experience. We can drop our resistance to being with the longing. We can get curious instead of fearful about what might be waiting for us in this experience. We can sit quietly and watch what happens and release any expectation of outcome and remain in the spirit of inquiry. This is a spiritual exercise in faith. We tap into our courage and take a great leap of faith when we allow ourselves to accept what may arise within this space of longing and this seemingly unfillable void that lives inside us. This space can seem a great mystery. We can spend so much of our lives dodging this place that the present moment is not well known to us. When we're finally able to connect with this place inside ourselves, we find that we at last have solved the riddle of the void. You have found your way into the healing field. You have found your fountain of creativity. This is a place of spontaneous evolution. Healing is just one of the outcomes for you when you tap into this internal creative force. Ultimately, you're integrating mind, body, and spirit into wholeness. I'm just going to check the time. Now I'm going to segue with you into a powerful healing modality that accesses the healing field through the breath, through the present moment, and by asking for help from the creator of the all that is. Within the framework of science, this work is seen as rewiring our DNA on the physical, emotional, and spiritual levels. What ancestral clearing is. Ancestral clearing is a process similar to energy medicine, clearing one's field, and the power of prayer. All spiritual paths are welcome. What is required today is permission from you for me to do this process, which I'm assuming by your presence that I have permission. But if I don't, somebody please raise their hand and let us know. Second is willingness. Third is present. And a specific focus or intention of what you wish to heal or what you wish to clear. You may share with the group or you may share silently. What you intend, of course, you may observe and help us hold space for healing and community. Most clients ask for ancestral clearing around these major blocks. I'm not asking you to limit yourself to these things. I'm just giving you some information. Relationship issues, abundance, healing a chronic physical, emotional, or spiritual malady, or negative thinking habits. Within days, or actually moments, anywhere from moments to days, an individual one-on-one ancestral clearing session or a group clearing, like we're about to do today, clients generally experience release of long-time unhealthy habits, feel greater self-esteem and self-worth, and or let go of grudges and resentments, and move away from negative relationships and situations. Ancestral clearing is transformational and shifts the mind, body, spirit, which is why permission, willingness, and presence are so important. So what we're going to do over the remainder of our time together is I'll give you some instructions, and then we'll do a little process. First of all, stay present. We already talked about the willingness part and the permission. Next, think of something or someone in your life that you're reactive towards. When you think about it, and then when you think about that, you feel sensation rising in the body. So we have an issue in the for instance, I'll give you an example. Someone was very upset last week and spoke to me in with a lot of blame, just shooting right at me, and it was painful to feel. And I allow myself to feel that. I actually noticed that I took it personally, and I felt it in the body. I felt it kind of all over my core, and I stayed present with it and allowed myself to feel it. I ran some forgiveness around it, and I released it. So that's just an example of a very quick example of that process. So think about someone or something in your life that you're reactive towards, and then when you think about it, just notice the sensation arising in the body. Note where you feel the sensation. Note the level of intensity of the sensation from 0 to 10. What's the number? And I'll take you through that. Put your attention on the sensation, relaxing the breath. Remain present in the breath and the sensation you're feeling. So I'm going to start with an opening ancestral clearing prayer, and then I'd like to do a group process, and then we'll see if anyone in the group would like individual help. And when we work in this process, when we work on an individual within the group, because we don't know what happened in the lineage, because we're speaking to the person's past, but also to the lineage. So not necessarily personally to them, but in the lineage. All of us get help because we don't know what happened in our lineages, and we have so much in common with one another. So we work on one person in this process. In a group, everyone gets help. And my experience with doing group clearings, I've been doing these since like 2014. And my experience is that when a group comes together in this setting, there's a theme. There's kind of a theme where everybody's kind of got the same stuff in common, which I think is really interesting as well. So in keeping with today's theme, really, I'd like to do a clearing prayer for the courage to face the unknown. So if you would just be present and relax the breath while I read you this. Source of all that is. You are known by many names, and you are one. We thank you for being there, for the many blessings you shower on us, for your omnipresence and your eternal love. We ask for us and all our ancestors and all their relations through all time, space, dimension, realms, and incarnations. For any time and every time anyone felt confusion and couldn't see life lining up in any kind of reasonable way. For the times when things didn't make sense the way they happened. For the times, no matter how hard we tried to do the next right thing, events went awry. Please help us all to forgive all people and forgive ourselves. Please and thank you. For the times the crops failed, animals perished. We watched our friends and family sicken and die, and found ourselves powerless to help them. For any time we were fired or let go in any other way from employment. For the times when events in our lives came to an abrupt, startling, and devastating end, and we had to begin again from scratch. Please help us all to forgive all those involved and help us to forgive ourselves. Please and thank you. For any time people disappeared in natural disaster, and we never got to say goodbye, nor did we know what happened to them, and for the longing we felt because of it. Please help us all to forgive each other, and for anything that happened, no matter what it was, and help us to forgive ourselves. Please and thank you. For any time and every time anyone shook their hands at you source of all that is, and cried, "Why does this keep happening? How could you let this happen?" And for the times we turned our backs on you because of what happened, and all the remorse and hopelessness we felt when we did so, please help us all to forgive each other, ourselves, and you for the part we thought you played in any of these events. Please and thank you. For the times we lost the heart to go on, felt our hope drain right out of us, experienced feeling completely vulnerable and powerless, and made it mean all was lost. For the time we or others became lost in the darkness, never to return, figuratively or literally, and all that arose in the lineage as a result. Please help us all to forgive each other and forgive ourselves. Help us release one another and release ourselves. Find peace with one another and find peace with ourselves. Please and thank you. Please help us open our hearts. Keep our hearts open, even in the face of uncertainty and our sense of not feeling safe. Please help us to love one another and ourselves as you love us, no matter what happened, and for the highest good. Help us all find peace with each other and peace with ourselves now and forever. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Amen. Now everybody take a breath in and let it out. And how does that feel in the body? Just notice. I'm checking the time again. I'm just going to give you a moment to let that settle. Just breathe a little bit and present yourself. Now I'd like to do an ancestral clearing, a group clearing for friend and family relationships. Imagine friends and family members, anybody, everybody, that you feel didn't give you what you needed or gave you what you didn't need. Imagine them all standing there in front of you. You don't have to see them clearly, just get a sense of them. Anyone that let you down, and you can imagine more than one. You can imagine a few or many, all the people who qualify. Now in general, not specifically, feel into the sense of what happened and notice where you feel it as sensation in the body. Surrender to your inner experience, not to them or anything external. You're just surrendering to what you feel as sensation in the body. You're giving yourself permission to notice the vibration or whatever sensations arise in your body and just be the witness to what you feel. And as you are witnessing all that you're feeling, breathing normally, just listen to these words, or you can repeat them out loud or silently to yourself. Creator, source of all that is, that which answers our prayers. We ask humbly and gratefully that you please help us, that you please help me. Forgive everybody out there that I put in front of me, and include anyone I left out. For all the hurts, wrongs, and projections. Times we didn't nurture, love, and support each other. For all abandonment and rejection. For all prior burden they projected onto me. For all conflicts, differences, and misunderstandings. For all bullying and injustice. Times we attacked, blamed, judged, and misunderstood each other. Times we weren't there for each other in the ways that we needed. For times we didn't feel safe. Times they didn't honor my boundaries. Times they were inappropriate through thought, word, or deed. For all hurts and wrongs, and all judgments, and limiting beliefs around what happened, please help all of us, all family members and relationships, ancestors and their relationships, through all relevant time, space, and dimension. Please help us all forgive and release each other. Please help us all forgive ourselves. No matter what happened, for the highest good, only and always. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Please help us all love and bless each other. Love and bless ourselves. Be at peace with each other and at peace with ourselves. Please and thank you. I love you all that is. Thank you for loving me. Please help me see myself and all creation through your eyes. Amen. Take a breath in and let it out. And notice how that feels in the body.